You're live. Hello, hello, hello. Let's see. I always got to read the things. Moderation activity is now hidden. Show activity. Moderation activity.
I don't know. These always start.
You entertain the people while I read all the things.
I don't think there are any people here.
Oh.
So.
Well, but they'll maybe watch later.
So I'm drinking my Coke Zero. Also, it's a really bad light day because it's dark outside, so we're having to use overhead light, which is horrible on everyone. We look 20 years older than we do in real life. Boy, this is really bad. Okay.
Okay, we don't have any people, I don't think. So
Two.
Oh, good. So someone is here. So we did it right. It's too long between them, you know?
Too long between them.
Between lives.
I
forget how to do it every time.
And I used to do them on Instagram all the time, and now
There we go. I'm here. You're first.
Yay!
Home and Thimble.
And there's nine people. Yay!
There are some dogs that you may see roaming around. We just came back from Natchez to get a few days back at home base in Conway, because I don't know when we're going to see this house again for months and months.
I'm trying to decide what I need to take back with me for Auburn. I'm looking around like making an inventory going, do I take it now? Or do we come back later and load up a truck? Oh,
I know.
So even being home isn't very restful.
Yeah, no, clothes is definitely a problem with
I was
taking
talking about like
clothes.
Stuff.
Oh, stuff.
Like antiques.
Yeah.
Things for the house. So
anyway, we're here, and look at all you are here. Thank you for being here, guys.
My friends.
That's going way too fast. Let's
from the UK, it's midnight.
Really? Real quick, before we start getting questions from you guys, we're going to cover everything that's going on with Auburn. If you haven't heard yet, it'll be a big surprise for you. We'll have a big announcement for you.
Yeah, I know a lot of the people here on YouTube.
Sure, they don't even know.
Don't follow us on Instagram, so they may not even know.
That's true, or Facebook. So it may be new information for you. So we were going to cover everything to do with Auburn and what we're going to do and what our plans are. And we will also let you know what our plans are for all the other houses that we have that we're working on. And what else we're going to let them know?
I'm
going to let you know how sleepy I am right now, which is I'm about a 3, 4.
Which is sad because we did take a nap today. Did you sleep?
I did.
Okay. All right. We came home so we could sleep because we don't sleep in Natchez.
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty much working 7 days a week when we're there.
It feels like 24 hours a day.
It does. I know.
It's not, but it feels like it.
I know. So we came here to get a little rest, see family, see our dogs, which we don't get to see all of our dogs.
Yes, we do not take all 7
We do have
dogs.
a wonderful house sitter, for those of you wondering, who gives our dogs lots of love and attention, but they are super excited to see us when we come back.
So excited.
And it makes us very sad.
I want to leave them again.
Every time. This light is bad.
Oh, it's bad. It's bad. It's bad for, look at this, bad for everything.
I know, it's not good.
Oh.
Let's see.
So Sandra deleted Instagram, so she didn't even know. There we go. That's better.
How's that?
It's actually a little bit better.
Is it really? I'll just put my phone up there.
No, we can't see people's comments. That's very, very important. Okay.
I know.
All right, there we go.
If y'all don't know by now, it's just us, and we're just silly. So here we are.
And if that offends you, oh well.
Oh well.
There's other people out there that are really boring, so
yeah,
you can go watch them.
Yeah, we're nuts.
Anyway, so let's start out with a big announcement for those of you who don't follow us on Instagram and you don't follow us on Facebook. We do have a huge announcement to make. Like, it's huge.
Yeah, and it's been in the works for 6 months or so.
I actually figured up it is exactly 6 months.
Is that right? Here's one of our dogs.
Yeah, you can't see her.
And you see me doing this, and you don't see a dog, and you're just like, what's Kevin doing?
What is he doing? He's petting a puppy.
Show your face. This is Boo. That's Boo. She's a sweet girl. Okay. So the announcement is.
I'm drum rolling.
Oh, you drum rolling. I'm giving the announcement. Laine and I are going to be the new stewards, caretakers. What are all the terms?
I think stewards is the best term to describe it.
Of Auburn, which is an amazing house in Natchez, Mississippi. It's owned by the city. I guess give them general history for those who don't know the house.
Built in 1812. We had a little video on here about Auburn. We did this video months ago when we knew what was coming down the pike, but we could not say a word. This was something that had to be so under wraps for so long. There was a wonderful group of caretakers who took care of the house for 50 years, and they retired.
50 years. They started
the year I was born.
The year Laine was born, 1973.
Oh, I just gave away my age. Oh, well.
the year they were thinking about having Laine 15 years later. And they gave tours in that house, took care of that house for 50 years. And the last pilgrimage, which was the fall pilgrimage.
I'm gonna give the whole scoop. Okay. So we had not been to Auburn. We had not seen Auburn. We had wanted to go. It is a glorious house built in 1812 by a famed architect. There's so much we can tell you about that. There's a really cool story about the guy for whom it was built, and then the next guy. But we'll get into all of that when you come to the tour to see us. But we had been wanting to go to Auburn, and it was during pilgrimage, and we went to lunch with our very good friends Elizabeth and A.B. Walters. They own Gloucester. If you have not watched the Gloucester video,
of Gloucester,
go back and watch Gloucester. And A.B. was late to lunch because he was touring Auburn, and we were told that Elizabeth looked at us and said, this is the last day Auburn's ever going to be open.
Yeah,
or tomorrow.
Tomorrow
is the last day.
We went on the last day.
And so we said, what? And we found out that this wonderful group of caretakers who had been trying to keep the house in order for 50 years really have gotten to retirement age, and they're done. They did not have the energy. I was looking back at pictures of their activities in the 90s, and boy, when they were our age, they were blowing and going and running and moving and shaking. I did. And but you reach your 70s and 80s, and you don't want to be doing that anymore on a volunteer basis. And so they decided they were going to retire, and they were going to just turn the house over to the city. Well,
so here, it's your problem again.
And here's the deal with a city the size of Natchez, and really most cities. While a gift like Auburn is an incredible gift.
I mean, it's an enormous house. If you haven't seen it, just Google it real quick.
203 acres. It's a house in 203 acres that was given to the city. Much like giving someone a puppy for Christmas, it is wonderful.
Here.
But it is also a level of burden comes with that.
Now devote all your time and take care of it, but it'll love you in return, right?
And a city like Natchez does not want to have to give city staffing, city employees, city time. They have bigger things to worry about, right? They need to be worrying about bringing visitors to the city. They need to be worrying about
schools and the
roads and keeping crime down. Those are the things the city needs to be staffing for.
Yeah.
So they called the Historic Natchez Foundation, our friend Carter, and said, "We're going to give it to you." And Carter said, "There's 4 of us." At the time, there were 3 over there. Now there's 4. They oversee all of the grant writing, all of the submissions for tax credits for people in the city of Natchez. They
hold everyone's hand.
They actually do the tax credit writing.
Well, I know, but I'm saying they hold everyone else with a historic home.
They hold hands.
They hold their hand, and they walk them through the best way to restore their homes.
We don't even know everything they do. The work that they do is monumental and unbelievable and all-consuming. I've never seen a group of people in preservation work this hard.
It's like Charleston. But it's
little bitty, so it has a tiny staff. And Mimi Miller, who is the director emeritus, even looked at me 2 days ago and said, "We are in over our heads," which I would never have thought would hear Mimi say. So anyway, all of that to say, we heard that Auburn was closing, that it was being given to the city. The city was going to try to give it to the HNF. We knew the HNF, and I text Carter and said, "Hey, we hear this is happening." And the reply I got was kind of an overwhelmed, "We don't know what we're going to do."
Yes.
And I jokingly said, "Well, why don't you give it to us?" And let us do a full restoration, a true preservationist-led, historically accurate by the standards for the Secretary of the Interior, a restoration. And then we will use it as basically
it's going to be our restoration's new home base. And I mean, that's us, that's you. Because I think that you guys would all like each other. We're all in this together, basically. And so this is going to be a great meeting place for us. It's an enormous house. How many square feet is that?
I don't even know.
Houses,
I don't know.
5,000-6,000 square feet, I guess.
Which is funny because it's about the size of Louise. Really?
Oh, it really
is. It's a different style, but the same size.
But it also has a billiard hall, which is
1856
billiard hall that they've got a grant already to restore. It also has the original slave quarters kitchen behind the house, has the original dairy behind the house. It still sits on
4 acres.
4 acres. Backs up to a golf course that the city, took the rest of that land and made a golf course. But it's a very important house. Let's give them not the whole thing, but just a couple of reasons why that house is important.
Well, it's the first house in really the nation that was built according to the orders of architecture. The orders of architecture came out of a classical.
Google that.
I'm not going to give you that because I could give you
orders
a 45
of architecture.
I could give you a 45-minute lesson on the orders of architecture. It was built in 1811, 1812. So we're talking about a property that was built during the second British invasion of the United States. This is the time in which the British burned down the president's residence in Washington, D.C. And when they rebuilt the White House, what we now call the White House, the portico of the White House was modeled after Auburn. So, wow. It has close ties to both Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr. They were both instrumental in its building. One of the most famous architects of the day, or infamous architects of the day.
Great story behind him.
Probably a murderer, but
Levi Weeks is his name.
We'll leave that up to you.
You decide.
Was the architect. Those are just a few of the reasons that the house is so important.
Architecturally, you can go back and watch the video that we did on Auburn. A group came from Laine and basically to study this house. And he talks about some of the special architectural elements of the home. So you can go watch that and get a lot of that information. So our plans.
Yes, which are really exciting because many of them include you.
Right. Our plans for Auburn, beyond restoring it to the best of our abilities back to the original colors.
That is, yes, we are doing a scientifically based restoration of the property. We had a good friend of mine who works for Evergreen Architectural Arts, which is,
if you're out there,
hey Brooke, if you're out there,
I don't know.
Which is the nation's leading conservator of historic architecture. She's already come and done a full paint analysis for us. She came in February. She's going to come back in April. So we'll be returning all of its finishes in the original portion of the house to its 1812 iteration. It's been interpreted in an 1850s period over the last several decades, but because it is such an early structure and there are so few of those in Natchez that are interpreted that way, we're going to do the main house in that interpretation. And then the wings, which were built in 1856, will be in that 1850s period. So that's kind of the first undertaking.
Right. So finishes and furnishings, and this is going to be a big undertaking.
Really,
very, very large.
Very large. Very large.
So we'll give you just a real quick of what's going to happen here in the next couple of months, and then we'll talk long-term plans and how we're really going to include you. Now, Spring Pilgrimage is starting March 1st in Natchez, Mississippi, and Auburn. We signed these papers 2 days ago.
Two days ago.
Sublease basically from the city.
Yeah.
This home.
Yeah, 2 days ago.
And the house goes on tour March the 2nd, which is Thursday. So obviously we've had no time to do anything.
We haven't taken a picture off the wall yet.
We know all of the history of the home and we can give a fantastic tour, and the home will tour beautifully. I mean, the architecture is all there. So
hang on. I just have to say this. Michael, I already bought a harp. Okay. So I bought a harp about 4 weeks ago and texted the Historic Natchez Foundation and said, I have to have the house now. I've bought a harp. But yes, I am also looking for a harpsichord because I have to have a music corner. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. And so the house will be on tour, and you can find those tour dates several different places. We don't have a point of sale there, but you can buy tickets there. So there are 2 different garden clubs that are doing 2 different pilgrimages. So you can find those on Facebook.
You can find one set of tickets at natchezpilgrimage.com. And then you can find a second set of tickets at, I believe it's Little Easy Tours is who the other garden club uses.
Right.
We don't know yet. We're still kind of in the early stages of working with them. So we don't really know that, but I'm pretty sure there's just Little Easy Tours.
I think that's right.
Is anybody here from that?
Yeah, if you are, let us know.
Let me know if I got that.
And we'll miss the comment. And so the house will be on tour through March, through April, not every day. So be sure and look through those to find out what dates. I believe 4 times on those days. Laine and I will definitely be giving the
11 o'clock
and the 2 o'clock.
Yes.
So if you want Laine to give the tour, go to the
Book
11
for
o'clock
11 or
the
2.
2 o'clock. She'll probably and I will both be giving some of the other tours, which will be 11 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 4 o'clock.
But if you want to meet us, book 11 or 2.
11 or 2.
Because we didn't have, with one group we had some say in when the times were, and the other group we didn't, and we can't
this all
handle,
happened.
Yeah.
This was all arranged before we took
the
signed the papers again, and so we're basically going along with
whatever they scheduled.
What was agreed upon.
Right,
that's
what they scheduled, and we're having to do that. But
and
I cannot physically do 4 tours.
And we're still, finishing the house that we've been working on.
We got to get Pearl done.
Yeah.
Let's scoot up. The light looks a little bit better.
Okay.
is
that better? How's that? Is that good?
So that
okay.
runs through April. So we will be there meeting and greeting and hugging necks.
Yeah, if you want to come see us, if you want to meet us.
March and April.
Yes, March and April. So,
but no special events during this tour because we just didn't have time to get anything ready.
Right. And then we're basically shutting it back down to get some other things. We're going to start the work to get it where we want it to be for future tours.
Right.
But we also have a lot of ideas for future events, and we'll throw some of those out. And Laine and I have ideas all the time. They may not all come to fruition. As you've seen us walk through a house, sometimes we go, we might do this and this and this, and then we don't. We do something else.
Plans change. You have to stay fluid. Obviously, you have to be ready to roll with whatever punches life hands you, good, bad, or otherwise, because otherwise we wouldn't be sitting here, right?
Exactly.
We would not be giving you this announcement.
So a couple of key ones that will really involve you. We want to do some Our Restoration Nation like family reunions where we all get together. We have picnics on the lawn. We have some demonstrations.
Yeah, we really want it to be a place
do
of
some
learning.
And that may be in conjunction with our Restoration Nation Academy. Is that what we decided?
I think that's what we decided we were going to call it.
Where you get, you will pay a fee, but you'll get some hands-on training with restoring windows and restoring plaster and all the way down the list.
Bringing in lots of experts to teach you we'll teach you some things, but then we'll bring in some of the nation's leading experts in fields that we are not experts in to really teach you these professional ways of handling your own restoration. So you can dig in and DIY and get a lot of learning all in one place. And then in conjunction with that, because Natchez is a city of so much historic architecture, we will have field trips.
Take a field trip
while we have these weekends. So we'll have some learning, which is hard and it's fun, but it's hard and intense. Yeah. So then we'll go and we'll tour some homes.
We plan to, well, I'm sorry to cut you off, but one thing we'd love to do is go into an old home that's just, it's not a tour home. It's just a regular home. And we're going to show you what we look for, look at this window, look at this feature. This is not original. This is original. These windows can be saved.
This is what the foundation should look like.
Right.
Even if this looks scary, this is okay. But I promise you, we're still going to go to some of the pretty finished houses too. So you can enjoy the beauty of Natchez and see some of these grand homes that start in the federal period and run all the way through the Victorian period. And several of those are open for tour. And so we'll be arranging group tours that we can all get together and all go together, and we'll lead those with you and we'll walk you through. So it will be worth you coming to Natchez. We're also going to be doing, Auburn will be a museum house. Now, any historic home that's open for tours is considered a museum home, but we want to take that museum portion a little bit further. So because it's us. Why not do anything by half? No, do it by 2.5.
Exactly.
So we'll be having some special exhibits. One of the first ones we have planned is Halloween.
We got some bad barking.
Sorry, we have some barking because he's angry because he's in the bedroom.
I know.
We're going to be having Sarah Naama. She is probably the nation's leading expert.
I'll be right back.
We're going to let him fuss at the puppies. The nation's leading expert in mourning jewelry and mourning rituals from the Stuart period all the way through the Georgian period. Is going to come and give us a lecture on mourning jewelry. And then we'll be exhibiting a museum-worthy collection of jewelry from medieval time all the way through the Georgian period. So there'll be a special museum exhibit. I want to do one. I'm planning to do one on needlework from the Georgian period, maybe even a little bit earlier up through modern day. So we have a lot of those kinds of special exhibits that we want to have available for people to come and visit. We want to try to make it where anytime you could come, there'll be something exciting for you to do while you're there. Right?
Right. Yes. And, we have, beyond that, we have 10 different events, that are fundraising events that we will be forming a nonprofit for this.
I mean, we're going to fund a lot of this with our own money, but we can't do it all.
Right. It's going to cost a lot of money. It's going to
I love Natchez, but not that
much. And so we will be doing some things that are, strictly fundraising and parties and community involvement. And so if you live in Natchez, then we want you to be involved in Auburn as well.
Right.
It's the city's house. It was donated to the city in 1911. And the city didn't do much with it for decades. And
literally decades.
Yeah,
it was donated in 1911 and nothing happened until 1974.
The children would run through the halls and go down the banisters and wait till you see the staircase of this home.
Leah, my friend Leah from Natchez said it's Little Easy Tours.
Okay.
So that's the other place. So NatchezPilgrimage.com or LittleEasyTours.com. And those are the places you can buy the two tickets. You'll have different houses that you can choose from. So I know that Pilgrimage Garden Club, I think, has well over a dozen houses available. Natchez Garden Club probably has that many available as well. Mm-hmm. So depending on the days you come, will have a limitless number almost of normally private homes that you cannot see. People live there and they are not open, that you can come and enjoy during pilgrimage. So even though we're not doing any lectures or anything yet, there is plenty of reason to go ahead and come if you can and have time.
Yes. And we want to meet as many of you as we can, because we've loved you from afar and we love your enthusiasm and your encouragement. And now maybe we can meet you.
Yes. We have for the last year and a half, probably since all of this started, we've laughingly said, we're looking for our silos, right? I mean, we don't pretend to be Chip and Joanna Gaines. We know we don't have millions and millions and millions of people, but we feel like we have created a wonderful community and we would like to meet you. But we needed a central place to do that. And we wanted there to be things to do in that central place. And so the other places we were talking about, we were going to have to create all the things, right? We would have to create everything.
So she says the other one is Natchez Pilgrimage Tours.
That's what, NatchezPilgrimage.com is the.
Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Little Easy and NatchezPilgrimage.com.
I wanted to say that before it went up.
Thanks, Leah. Thank you, Leah. Thank you, Kevin. And so we feel like this is our place, right? This is our central location that already offers a great deal. So we're not going to be solely responsible for creating all the things for you to do and see to make it worth coming.
Yeah, we don't have to build a little city there.
Right. There's already a great city.
There's a city there. It's been there a long time.
So much to do already. And we hope to just add to that. I want to kind of reiterate, I want to kind of add on to what Kevin said about it being the community's house. I think a lot of these homes, a lot of people in the community may feel like they're only for certain groups of people. And so we're going to also try to do a lot of things in the community that open up Auburn and the grounds of Auburn to the entire community. Some of the ideas that we want to have a Halloween carnival that's free. We want to do movie nights on the lawn that are either free or like super low charge, just enough to get you a bag of popcorn and a Coke. Just things that make Auburn a place where everyone can come and everyone can feel engaged with a property that was given as a gift to the people of Natchez. And so it
needs a gift to all of the people of Natchez.
Be a gift to all of the people.
That's our intention for sure.
Absolutely. So are we going to take questions now? Do you have other things?
Let's go ahead and get into our other properties
really, people are going to ask.
Really quickly, because I know a lot of you, if you live in Louisville, Georgia, you've been following us from the beginning with Louise, and that we own Willa. And we've toured through that. And we talked about what we're going to do with Willa. And we've got Helen, we've got Melly, and we've got Janie. And did I miss one? Pearl.
Probably.
But they know what's going on with Pearl. And all of these houses are secure. They are safe. They were basically put on hold because we had to go to finish Pearl. That was the priority. And we've got to prioritize these things because we don't have a crew that we send out. It's us. we can't work on all of those houses at the same time. So we've got to prioritize. So Pearl was our priority. Now Auburn will be our priority for a good while. Those houses, like I said, they're all secure.
They all have a new roof.
Yes.
They all have new foundations. Several of them have like new hot water heaters and new electrical systems and all new plumbing.
Yeah.
So they're safe. They're not going anywhere unless a tornado blows them away.
They're not finished to our standards by any means, but they're in good condition. And they will still be there, and we still love them.
Yeah.
We love them so much when we go into those houses that we just like, oh my gosh.
This is so wonderful. So our plan is, our thought is, so I've seen several people ask, are we going to live there? The intention is we'll be there 3 weeks out of the month and home a week a month. Our parents still both live here. They're not super young.
There's a lot of dogs here.
Yeah. And so we'll be home a week a month. And we do intend that sometimes when we're home, we'll go to one of those properties and do a quick project to share with you just some things that we're doing at those houses. But when we bought Melly, we bought her as a 5-year project, not anticipating a completion date for 5 years down the road. And so we're only a year into that. So that, in our minds, by our plan, that's 4 more years. The same thing with Helen. We still don't even have our federal tax credits granted yet. And I know that seems unbelievable to people who've never been through that process, but it is a stupid long process. And so we can't put another dime into her until those are granted, because anything we do beforehand, we can't get credits on. So, there are just a lot of things that kind of slowed us down and pulled us back on those projects, but they'll still be there. They'll be there always. And we intend to continue working on those, just it's going to be at a different pace.
Right. And this opportunity with Auburn is huge.
It's huge.
And we had to take this opportunity. And so, you want to get into some questions now? Was there anything else we wanted to tell everybody?
I had a thought.
Uh-oh.
It flitted through my brain.
Let me see if I can find
it did. It flitted in and then it flitted out. Oh, I was going to say, we're always talking about, I don't think we need to go back to the beginning, because if we do,
says hello,
we'll never,
hello.
literally, if you've asked a question, let's scroll down to the bottom. And then if you've asked a question that you really want an answer to, ask it again, because otherwise we could spend all night.
Is the question portion.
Getting these back up. But we've talked to you over and over and over about how we feel like this work is an opportunity for us to leave a legacy. And there is literally no better legacy to leave than being given the honor of working on a property that is a National Historic Landmark and being the caretakers for a property of this importance and this magnitude. So being able to help save a structure like this one is an incredible opportunity.
Yes, and we love it. Now, we also want to save as many houses as we can, and that's what this community is all about. That's why we teach you how to make your own changes. Like, we put a house out from Little Rock the other day, and it has 2 holes burned into the floor, right? This is a good example. And Laine talked briefly about, you could fix that for $300, she says, in the video. And people come on here and go, you're ridiculous. You don't know what you're talking about. You can't fix that for $300. And so we have said together, we fixed one in Pearl for free just because we had the wood. So we figured $300 will buy you plenty of wood and a couple of tools if you need them, right?
Yeah.
So if you learn how to fix it yourself, it doesn't have to be ridiculous.
Which
you can buy
actually
themselves.
Ties in nicely to several of the same question we've gotten. So several of you are asking, can we come and work? Are we going to have work stay opportunities? Will you allow volunteer opportunities? Yes. We have talked about that from the beginning with the Historic Natchez Foundation, about giving people, because we get that question all the time. Can we come help you? Can we come? Most of our properties are too dangerous. The liability is too great to let you come in and work. Auburn is the perfect opportunity to learn real preservation skills. And so we will be offering opportunities. Now, we don't know if we're going to do those. We haven't really finalized how that will work, if we'll do it as, a weekend where we'll come in and have a volunteer weekend and we'll all work on one project together, or if we'll have some come in, work, learn opportunities, but that is going to be part of what we do.
And we've only talked briefly about having volunteer days. I think it's definitely something I'd love to do. You tell me if you disagree with this. I think if we get in there and we're doing some landscaping projects, maybe we bring you there, and that kind of thing you can definitely help us with. We've got to be careful inside the house. That
we definitely have to
don't
be
let
careful.
People run amok. So it may be limited things inside. I know, but you never know. Inside preservation work may be a little bit limited.
I think
but it could be a volunteer weekend.
I think there's plenty to do.
You think so?
Yeah,
okay.
I think there's. I mean, look at all the wallpaper that's got to come down. Look
true.
at all the paint that's got to come
on. True. So yes, that is a possibility.
So I saw you were a little late. Essie is Pearl done. No, we have a completion date of the end of March. We may beat that a little bit.
Oh, I thought you were going to say we may creep into April.
Or we may creep into April. And here's the deal. We could have finished Pearl by the end of February if we didn't do it at our standard. If we had done a flip job, we could have easily finished it. We could have been done months ago. But we're retuck pointing every single pier. We are, we're touching every surface of that house, and we're doing it to our standard.
Well, look, we have hired people to do work that we do before.
No amucking allowed.
And then we go back and look at it and go, this is a professional that does this every day.
And it's horrible.
I would not put that work out and charge somebody.
Wait, I have to do this. Eleanor. Yes, Eleanor makes curtains over the pond. Would you please give a crash course on curtains that will suit Auburn and your other properties? Could I make some for y'all? Look, girl, that is going to be one of our biggest needs, because the last set of draperies that went into Auburn were really designed in an 1850s style, and they're not appropriate. So since you are over the pond, if you're in the UK, Auburn is designed in the Georgian style. The outside is Palladio, the inside is Regentia. So the inside is Georgian, George III. So it's very, very British. It is one of the only homes in the United States that I've been in that is a full-on British iteration. Payne's Palladio, which is part of the British Palladio, was used to design this house, and Salmon's
located a couple of those books.
And Salmon's Palladio Londinensis. So London Palladio was used for this house. So if you're over the pond, you know exactly what kind of curtains are appropriate for this house. You can look at Georgia period homes in your area, and that's what is appropriate. So we would love to visit with you about that possibility, because we need it badly. Shelly wants to know if we're going to live in Auburn. We are. It has not been lived in for 70 years.
110 years? So somebody lived in it 70 years
ago? So there's...
Oh, was it a bed and breakfast?
No, 70 years ago he donated it in 1912.
Right.
So, okay, yes, so 100 years ago. 110 years ago. It's got a fascinating family history in that the first owners lived in it, the second owners lived in it. Then during the Civil War, he was an anti-secessionist, and so he left and went to New York and never came back, and no one ever lived in the house again, except from 1863 until 1911, the house was lived in and maintained by the former enslaved workers of the owner. They lived there. They took care of the house. There were tons of correspondence back and forth. But after 1911, once sort of a lot of those people died or they moved off, they donated the house to the city, and no one's lived in it. And I'm a firm believer that for a house to have its soul, people need to live there. So when you walk into Auburn right now, it has kind of the feeling of a federal building a little bit. I think it doesn't have that warmth.
It definitely, for the exterior, looks more like a public building, like it's a library. We want it to look more like a house.
Yeah,
right?
And feel like a house, not just look like a house, but feel like a house.
Leah wants to know, did Willa ever move? So here's the thing with Willa. We looked and looked and looked into the costs of moving Willa, and would have done it a long time ago if we could have ever gotten a reasonable number to move that property. We also looked into the option of completely dismantling Willa and building her back.
That's actually still the long-term plan for Willa.
Right.
Just a quick answer. That's the long-term plan, because the price to move Willa, just to raise the power lines, not including the actual move, which was another $50,000, and then the restoration, just the power lines were $152,000 for 4 blocks.
Power lines and the communication lines.
And unfortunately, because of property values in Louisville, Georgia, moving a house for $200,000, then restoring a house for $200,000, then having a house worth $400,000 was just not a wise economic decision. And you know that we are always very honest with you about, no matter what you do, make sure it's a wise and feasible economic decision. And so we didn't feel like we could model that reasonably and ethically as an option for people.
So that's where we are on Willa. Do you see another? I love the Noah mucking aloud.
Yes, Noah mucking.
And someone asked, new tools for Kevin, maybe? And
Always.
Like, I don't know. This is more of a finer, it's a finer restoration. Oh, someone asked what condition is Auburn in? So let them know a little bit, I guess. We'll talk a little bit about what has to be done.
We had a structural engineer come in and gave her the all clear, which is wonderful news. The beauty of Auburn being built like English country homes, Eleanor, I saw you say, her entire structure is made of brick. The walls are 18 inches thick brick. Everything is brick except for, just the foundation. Everything is in great condition structurally. Cosmetically, there are a lot of issues. The columns out front are missing their tori, their bases. That's what the bases are called. They've been painted with elasticated paints with latex paint. And so there's a lot of spalling. So there is a grant to restore the columns, and that will be undertaken very quickly. It's been tuck pointed with Portland cement. So that's got to be redone. The shutters are falling off. That's got to be redone. There was a concrete walk put around the house many decades ago, which basically has created a moat, which has created a lot of water intrusion problems. So we have to address those water intrusion problems pretty quickly. There are no bathrooms and there's no kitchen. So those are our immediate.
We need a fire suppression system.
And there's bats.
And there's bats.
Thousands of bats.
So there are lots and lots of needs, but the house actually shows beautifully. And when you tour it, you may not even think to yourself, this needs a ton of work, but it really does. Most of it's cosmetic.
Yeah, and Leah, you're right. Houses used to move all the time before there were power lines.
The house we're in moved.
The house we're moved. And part of it, you can still move houses, and the cost is very reasonable. The problem is the power lines in Louisville, Georgia are literally this far off the street. Like I could cut my head off on some of them. They're so low, and they're fiber optic lines. So it's not like just moving regular power lines or regular cable lines. It is incredibly expensive. It is astronomical. Now, Ryan, if you want to come over and you want to dismantle her and move her down the street, we can talk about that.
Yeah, I think he's like, we'll all come over. The whole community. We'll pick it up and we'll carry it over. I know. But you still have to go into the power lines. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Because moving it wasn't really the issue. It was the power lines.
Yes, there are no mantles that need stripping. Luckily, because the house is Georgian in influence, the woodwork would always have been painted.
Yes.
So the woodwork that is painted can stay painted. Now, here's the kickity kicker on that. Several years ago, it was all coated in latex paint. And if you've watched us, you know what happens when you put latex paints over oil paints. It's buckling, splitting, popping.
Flake City.
But it appears to be cleaving almost cleanly down to the wood really pretty simply. So we have hopes that it's not going to be the nightmare that the murder mantle was, which I still have a butt on my head
and on her knee.
A huge knot on my knee.
She got a knot on her knee, and I said she should name
mantle.
It. It's so big she should name it.
Yes.
We're just getting inside jokes now from everybody. Are there any raccoons in pajamas?
There are raccoons. They're absolutely raccoons. And does it come with raccoons and squirrels?
Raccoons, I hope. Squirrels. Yeah, probably so.
We'll have a whole room with my wild critters just in them.
Yeah, but after you watch this, go watch the video. The attic is actually very interesting at Auburn. I mean, the house is so important, but we're so thrilled to be the caretakers.
Yeah, it's an unbelievable opportunity. We actually got home yesterday, and I walked in the door and had a moment of absolute panic. I was like, I can't do this. This is too much responsibility. This is too big a deal. I can't be responsible for this. And Kevin had to come talk me off the ledge. Yes, Edith, all of the houses, but especially Helen, have very strong security systems in them.
Definitely one thing we put in.
Absolutely.
That is Stanley that is throwing a fit because
Janet. Okay, so Janet has Goldens.
Oh, you do? Okay, so yes.
You know, that's Stanley.
They are sweet and schmoopy, but they want to be on your lap all the time. They think they're tiny little lap dogs.
And he weighs 70 pounds.
And he is wonderful. We love him.
We adore him. How are the neighbors? Another inside joke. They're no neighbors.
Well, it's actually interesting. The neighbors there, because it was donated, like she said, with 200 acres. There's a golf course behind us. There are playgrounds and tennis courts and frisbee golf. I mean, it's a community area. So,
our neighbors are basically children playing on a playground, which I'm so down with.
Yeah.
I would much rather have the sound of laughing, happy children.
She knew it was Stanley.
Than other noises. Will we sell our home in Arkansas? No, we will not. That is not the plan currently.
Selling our home in Conway?
Yes, we feel like because this is going to be our business as well, and we're going to live there, living in the place where you work can become very stressful. And so we feel like we need to have time each month that we just kind of come back home and decompress and see our families. I'm very close to my family, super, super close. They're of an age they don't like to travel much. I was hoping they would come down. I don't think they're going to because they don't like to leave the house. And so we will be coming back to see them regularly.
Weddings and social events.
Weddings, no. I'm just going to be honest. No, not weddings. No.
Yeah, I told Laine the other day what's going to be funny is in 3 years, we're just going to have weddings every weekend.
No, we're not. No.
Weddings, probably not. Social events, some maybe,
Yeah, absolutely social events. I think there'll be lots of stuff. The house will be available for rent. Let me finish that. My thought, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
The house is absolutely open for rent for social events. If you have a golf tournament, you want to have your 19th hole party. If you have, your senior graduation and you want to have your senior graduation party, those things, yes. What we don't want to do is, because Auburn is owned by the city, is the city's house, we do not want to be in competition with the private homes in the city. We don't want to make any of the private homeowners angry. They're already a little salty that there's a city-owned property, and they're really scared that it's going to compete with their income base. We want our events that we have to be radically different from anything else that's offered at any of the privately owned estates. So that's why we're focusing on museum exhibits and learning opportunities rather than weddings and social events. Although, I'm sure we're going to have plenty of social events. We're not planning on weddings. And I've been in the wedding industry and I never want to deal with a bride again. Although I did say
that's the real truth behind
niece, my youngest niece, will be getting married there eventually. But that's the only wedding that I plan on having there.
There you go. Well, Interloper 8 keeps wanting to know what new tools I'm going to get. He's really into tools. So I don't really have any immediate plans for tools. It's not like, we're doing construction in this house at all. It's more stripping paint and pulling down wallpaper.
Plastering walls.
Trying to think. Well, we will be doing some bathroom work and some kitchen work.
There will be a lot of construction. He just hasn't embraced the reality of that yet.
I'm down for some construction.
But I don't think there's another saw that he can buy. I think he has them all.
I think I have them all. I saw one the other day that I needed.
Of course you did.
I'm serious. I did.
Well, then I will buy it for you.
Okay, thank you.
If you need a new saw, we'll buy it for you.
I need one. It's going to be cool.
Do we get to keep the furniture in Auburn? That is another big thing that is going to change. Auburn has kind of been the stepchild in a lot of ways, and everything in it are things that are left over from other places that they don't want after they fill up their places with beautiful things. And so much of what is in there, while it's lovely, is not appropriate to the period of the home at all. It's mixed and matched. It's pieces and parts. So one of our main focuses is going to be on furnishing the home in period appropriate pieces. So we got to move a lot of that stuff out of there.
I'm going to go to a side room and talk to Interloper about my tools.
About your tools. Yeah, okay.
But I've got a good paint sprayer, so I'm good there.
And a lot of we won't be doing as much painting because the walls are plaster. So we'll be doing skim coating and tinted plasters as opposed to smearing up latex paint on the walls.
Yes.
Let's see.
Laine can only approve of a new saw if it's completely silent. She's going to have to leave the room, I'm afraid.
Hey, but you know what, Michael? I used the tile saw last week a lot myself and did really well.
Oh,
and
yeah,
the
she used the wet saw.
Didn't bother me.
Well, wet saw's not.
It's like a grinder.
It's more like a grinder. It's not as annoying.
When you were using that reciprocating saw the other day, though,
when I was cutting the pipes out.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're just going down.
It was bad. Is there any woobity, Leah?
Oh, yeah, that's good.
I don't feel it at all in the house.
Lee has not been there yet.
Lee has not been there, although when the group from Tulane was there, they were over at the house one day and we came in. It was just Brent and Jane, the Fortenberrys, who head up the Tulane Department of Preservation. And we walked in the front door and Brent looked at us and said, "Were you guys just upstairs?" We were like, "No, we just came in the front door." They were like, "Somebody was walking around upstairs and we're the only ones here." So who knows?
Well, Peggy, the original home was built in 1812. The wings were added in 1850-ish.
1856.
1856.
So basically what you're saying is exactly correct. Go ahead. Sorry.
Who, Peggy?
Uh-huh.
So we're going to style the house in those two periods. So the 1856 will have 1856 appropriate furniture. 1812 will be the 1812. But the biggest, 1812 is earlier than most that you can see. So that's one of the reasons we really want to fashion the house in that way.
Yes, Edith. Edith asks if there are any plans for the outbuildings. So it is a beautiful extant quarters for enslaved workers, kitchen, and laundry area. So we hope, so in April, the slave dwelling project is coming to participate in basically a bunkin' party there. They do this all around the country. And yes, it's all around the country, not just in the South, all around the country at homes that still have extant slave dwellings. They go and stay and they have weekends of learning. So we hope to kind of continue those types of learning opportunities. I was really excited. I found Lyman Harding's slave inventory in some old documentation, which is very difficult to find, very rare to find. He's the first owner of the house, so we'll be doing some interpretation in that building. The dairy that is extant is actually connected to the VFW right now. So we have some work to do to get that disconnected.
Only see the exterior of it right now.
Do some work in there, but we do have some plans for that in the future
now,
as well.
We didn't. I don't think we ever told them the billiard hall. The Historic Natchez Foundation has put together and gotten a grant to restore the billiard hall. I don't know the time frame on that, so probably over the next 6 to 8 months.
Sorry.
And in that grant, they've got money to completely restore it, and then also to do work on the columns which need help in the front of the home.
So yes,
the billiard hall is a very cool structure. It's large. It'll be a great place for us to get in.
We set up tables to teach you guys how to do windows. I'm so excited.
I know. I'm so excited. I think I'm most excited about that.
Yeah. Jessica wants to know how to Mama and Papa Restoration feel about the move. Yeah. Not great. They're handling it very well. We have moved away from home a couple of other times in the past, and they did not handle it well. But I think they know what a big deal this is. And so they're being very, very brave about it. They're really putting on a good show of being excited and supportive. My dad especially is not doing well with it, but they're being such grown-ups about it. I'm really proud.
And my parents are excited too. They talked about maybe coming to pilgrimage in April.
Really? I thought they told us they were done with Natchez. They'd seen it all. They came last week and told us they'd seen it all. Your dad said that.
Probably. Yeah. Let's see. Nancy was inspired by us and bought her very own 1910 Victoria to Marshall, Texas.
Oh, Texas
and would have never done it without us. Look at that.
I hope you don't hate us for it, but you'll love it. Peggy, will there be history days? Okay, so
every day is history day.
Well, yes, but I have a great group of friends. I'm the author of How to Read a Dress is a friend of mine. And she is a historic period costume maker. And they have dances and balls. So yes, there are plans, in my mind at least, to have like a Christmas costume ball and dance in the 1812 period. But listen to the most exciting thing we have that's going to happen in costume. You want to tell them?
Yeah, I think we can tell them this.
Okay, this is like the big one that I cannot wait to get the billiard hall done, because the murder trial of Levi Weeks, who was the architect of this house that happened in 1799 in New York City, is the first court case in the history of the United States that's transcribed. So we have the full transcript of his murder trial. He's accused of murdering his fiancee, Juliana Sands. So as soon as the billiard hall is finished, it's probably going to be a year. We plan to, every year on Halloween, stage as a theatrical production the trial of Levi Weeks, who was defended by Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr in his murder trial. And it's going to be a big deal. That's one of the things.
Like a play.
It's going to be so exciting. It's one of the things I'm most excited about.
Me
so
too.
there will be lots of costumed events that are happening.
Right. And while we're at it, if you guys make curtains or costumes or, have something that you could add to this, it will be a nonprofit. We'd love to. We don't even know all of the rules of nonprofits really, but we would love to credit you with those. If you can help, please, let us know how you can help.
Sorry, I was reading comments. I didn't hear anything he just said at all. I was reading
I've
comments.
just said that we've got a lot of talented people out there. And if they make curtains or costumes or something like that, let us know. We'd love to involve you and make this, a community, which we believe it is.
Aren't we worried it'll stir up the woobity stuff? Okay, so here's the deal.
That trial, I know, definitely. Okay.
It's too late. So Julie Elma's body was found in a well in Manhattan. The well is still there. The building the well is in, it was a bar and now it's a ladies' clothing store, is well documented to have massive paranormal activity, like glasses being thrown across the bar when nobody's there but one person, chairs being moved. It's too late. It's stirred up. I can't make it any worse at all. So, and you know me, I'll sit down with Julie Elma and we'll have a talk. I'll find out everything that happened to that poor girl.
I think her activity's going on with that. Well,
yes, that's her. So, she was to pre-order tickets. It's going to be awesome, Jessica. You don't even know. Will we put together a list of recommended bed and breakfast and Natchez? Absolutely.
Yes. One of the things we're going to do, we're not going to have ready for this tour, but we're going to create a passport. It's one of our plans. So maybe later you'll remind us that we were going to do that because we might forget. But it's going to include, discounts to a lot of different restaurants and things to do and places to stay. And it'll be, another avenue for you to enjoy your trip. These will be all things that we vetted and places that we enjoy. Basically,
we're going to go to all the places we eat and the places we've stayed. We have friends.
Hey, give our people discounts.
Yes, we have friends who own bed and breakfast, and that we know are beautiful and comfortable, and they will give you the best Southern breakfast in the world. So we're going to try to get that where everybody here can get a little discount at all of those places when they come. There was another question.
An Our Restoration Nation pass.
Is there a stable, Julie?
Yeah.
There is an awesome stable. It's been used to store lawnmowers for a long time.
And I need to store my lawnmower.
Yeah, no. It will be restored. We will have to get another grant for that. It is going to be a massive undertaking.
A little bit further from the house, so it doesn't feel...
Did you know it's not as far as I thought it was? We drove out the other day and I was like, that's a lot closer than I thought.
I bet if you walked there in the rain and cold, you'd think it was further.
Yes. So my long-term vision, and of course we're talking like a 30-year plan here. Hopefully we may both die before that, who knows, but it would be like the perfect little summertime tapas cocktail eating spot. So that is kind of something I've toyed with the idea of long-term, but yes, there is one.
Yes, Margaret, we already know just about all there is to know about this home because we've been studying it for about 6 months. But there are some new things that we can discover. There are some letters and some archives in the New York Historic Archives.
Yes.
Then what was the other one in Texas? There are some.
Yes, the University of Texas.
So there are still some letters that we can go through. And I will say Mimi Miller and Carter Burns are great help when it comes to that type of information. They've been passing that along to us. But we want the tour to be super historically accurate, give you all the information that we know about who lived in the home, who built the home. And we're going to, and anytime we learn something new, we're going to adapt.
Absolutely. And Kate wants to know if I do historic cooking. I don't do modern cooking, so I for sure don't do historic cooking. But that doesn't mean I can't bring in an expert who does. And that's our plan. I would love to have a historic cooking weekend where we go out into the old kitchen and we talk about how this open fire kitchen had to be used to feed people these elaborate meals and what was required to do that. So yeah, that's another. My sister wants to. Are you Lee Middleton? Are you like we want to go to dinner?
Yes.
Well,
I'm sure she's saying get off.
Give us 6 more minutes. We haven't done our hour yet. Oh my gosh, my sister. If y'all listen to Twisted Sister History, you know she's gonna harass me.
Kate, this is a great idea. Oh, what was Kate's idea?
The historical cooking.
Oh, okay.
Jessica knows a historic chef.
There you go. See the community.
Yes.
That's what I love.
It's okay, Kay. Don't worry if you miss the live stream. It'll be saved as a video, and you can go back and watch it all.
Yes.
Lee,
they miss you. Lee is busy bridling.
So Lee bought the bridal store for me. My sister Lee. Those of you who don't know, my sister and I owned a bridal store together. When this started becoming a thing, we talked it through and decided that she was going to buy the bridal store because I can't run a house in Natchez and help her in any way in the bridal store. So she owns that now. So both of our schedules have gotten a little manic and we haven't been able to do that. And look at all the people who missed Twisted Sister.
I know. And if you missed Twisted Sister history, Laine and I have a podcast that's much better, much better than Twisted Sister history. I mean, half of it's as good. The other half is so much better. But it is only available to our Restoration Nation citizens. So you can sign up through our website. It costs a whole $5 a month.
Yes.
So you get lots of stuff there. If you guys want to get more information from us and listen to our podcast, you could go to go to ourrestorationnation.com and you can sign up through that. So there's a little plug. Bam.
So a couple of people have asked where Auburn is. So I'm going to give you overall, Auburn is in Natchez, Mississippi.
Oh.
In Natchez, Mississippi, Auburn is on Duncan Avenue. So that is big picture, little picture. Anybody else have? Oh, Tammy's coming. We get to meet you, Tammy.
Huh? Tammy?
Yeah, she's coming. She's going to the pilgrimage tours.
Good.
Yes. Auburn. Jim asks if Auburn is the house we had the historic paint analysis done on. Yes, it is.
Yes.
That's where that
actually,
was.
Also, what's the date today?
The 24th.
Oh, 24th. Guys, there's 4 more days to enter for the SMEG giveaway. We're giving away a SMEG refrigerator. And in that video, we're sitting in front of the staircase in Auburn. So it was a little, it was a wink to what was to come. But you can watch that video and see the staircase in that place is one of a kind.
It is literally
very important, extremely interesting, and very cool to look at.
We know it's the only one in the Southeast. We don't know if it's the only one in the nation, but we know it's the only one in the Southeast.
And again, they talk about that in the video that we did of Auburn with the gentleman from Tulane, Mark.
Oh, Cassandra, thank you. She says I look gorgeous. We were just laughing earlier about how bad the light is and that we just look.
Not good.
There's our friends from the Thornhill House. So the Thornhill House, they're on Instagram too. They bought a house that I wanted really, really badly, but we have to quit buying houses. What color did she determine was the original? She's actually going to come back in April. So this house has had a lot of overcare in some areas, and some areas of the walls have been sanded with a belt sander. So we think the front parlor is kind of a peachy pink, which is right on target for 1812, 1811. We think the front hall was Celadon, but she's going to come back and do a secondary analysis just to make sure, because the last thing we want to do is slap up a bunch of plaster that's tinted and then
I'm sorry, somebody, did y'all hear my dog burp?
And then it's not the right color. So, yes.
I think that's a wonderful idea, having Lee as a guest on our podcast, which is so much better. It'd probably just bring it down. But no, that would be a good idea. Maybe if we could get her to Auburn, we could do a woobity test, and we'll do a podcast while she's there, and she can be a guest.
Sorry, I'm telling Papa Restoration, give us 5 more minutes.
Guest on our. I think we about got it. Anybody else with a question? Want to know what's going on?
Don't scroll up, because we'll lose any new questions.
No, we won't.
We have, we're going to have 2 minutes. So if we did not answer your question that you really wanted to have answered, now is a good time to repost it.
Or comment, under this video, and we'll read all those like we always do.
What's for dinner?
What's for dinner?
We're going to go out to eat probably Mexican food.
And Julie's going to dinner already, so see ya.
What's the property look like? Lots of trees. Tons of trees. There's a golf course in the backyard, so you kind of get that.
Yeah, you can Google Auburn home in Natchez, Mississippi, and get a lot of photos. It's very important.
Wendy says that Justine from Early American does historical cooking with 1812 time period in her video, so maybe we can get her to come and do a demonstration. Yes, my sister does have a website for her bridal store.
It's a really good website. It competes with the podcast. Because I did it.
He did it. It's InvernessBridal.com. Inverness, like the city in Scotland, bridal.com is her website. And she has a gift for making bridal appointment experiences just magical. So
is Auburn a he or a she, Laine?
He's a he.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa, this is news to me. People, you found it here first.
Yeah.
Auburn is a he.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
Anybody else?
She might change her mind on that in a week. Who knows?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting.
The 7th of April, Tammy's coming. Whoop whoop. What? When are we
debuting a new show on HGTV.
Well, if you missed the news, I would not play properly to get a show on HGTV. We did just a quick sum up. We did a pilot. We were told this is going to series. We did a pilot. They wanted me to wear a dress and throw pillows around and flowers and act like that's all I did. And I said, that's not all I do. I crawl under the house and get dirty and replace joists and move heavy cast iron mantles. And that's how it is. And so they didn't want to put me on TV. There you go, the end.
Leah says HGTV doesn't deserve you. She also said, I love how humble Kevin is. Hi, Kevin. Hi, Kevin. You guys crack me up, and I can't wait for us all to get together. Should we end it like that?
Maybe so. Michael says it's 2023. Auburn can be gender fluid. I think we may have to go with that at this point because I haven't. When I say to you, Auburn doesn't feel like a home, it doesn't feel like a home yet because it has not been lived in. And so for me, I think that's what I feel when I walk into these houses. You can get a sense of the people who've lived there, and this one hasn't been lived in so long. There's no real soul in it. We have to bring that back.
No ties to Auburn, Alabama.
No.
The name Auburn, did we decide it's something to do with near a stream?
You keep saying that's the burn.
Yeah, but I figured Auburn maybe means beside stream. I don't know.
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
We'll figure it out. But no.
Anyway, we don't really know. We really don't know why it's named Auburn, but it has been since it was built.
Since its entire life. Right? I want to say it might be the trees. Anyway, I will find that out and we'll let you know. Oh, yes, Auburn is on the spring tour starting March the 2nd.
March the 2nd.
Auburn is on the spring tour.
This coming Thursday.
And yes, Julie, we will be living there, which is insane. Okay, friends.
I think that's it, guys. If you have more questions, please comment on this video. Your homework tonight. Go watch the other Auburn video.
Yes.
Go watch the Banker's House. You guys have not been watching it like you should. Go watch the Banker's House video. It's a really good house.
It's a really good house. And if you like antiques, man.
It's got some amazing antiques inside, and Kevin is an amazing host. And thank you all for your congratulations. We love you all, and we will hopefully be meeting a lot of you soon.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Dog food. Oh, that's gross. Don't do that.
Bye.